Namu Shinyo Ichinyo Daihatsu Nihan Kyo. Mahalo Keokua for bringing Logan and Ashley and their beautiful family. We are grateful, and we just like to express this gratitude for this extremely special moment for the Lee brothers to have greatness in our presence. Please keep the Ryan family safe in their travels before they depart. Bless them in their last hours here before they return back to reality, their normal life. In Florida, keep them safe during their travels. And thank you for having them here today. All right, let's get started. Aloha. I'm Taisei of Taisei Discovers here in studio with my lovely brother Kenji in production. Without him, this is not possible. Today's guest got drafted to the National Football League in 2013 to the New England Patriots in the Bill Belichick era, Tom Brady. In the first 3 years of his career, he's won 2 Super Bowl rings. Amazing. He's also spent time with a local boy in Marcus Mariota on the Tennessee Titans. Amazing, amazing man. I look up to him. A lot of people at one point were like, you guys look like you could be brothers. He used to have dreads too, but gone are the dreads. We also are blessed to have his wife here in the studio as well. His name is Logan Ryan, defensive back. Ended his career last year, actually playing football on the San Francisco 49ers, and had one last run at getting a third Super Bowl ring. Fell short by 3 points, but I still feel like it was such a valiant effort. Now he gets to spend time with his family, his ohana, and we're going to talk about all of that today. We're also blessed with Ashley, his wife. We're going to hear from her some insights as to her experience being married to a pro ball player. Logan Ryan, welcome to Taisei Discovers.
I appreciate that intro. Look, when you guys asked me to come on, it was no doubt it was a yes. So I love what you and your brother are doing. I love the people here in Hawaii. Obviously, you're going to know I spent a lot of time here with Marcus introducing me to this culture and everything, it being in his wedding 5 years ago. So I'm just excited and grateful. When I heard y'all had the podcast, I definitely wanted to hop on.
Yeah, I appreciate it, man. And this is not your first rodeo either when it comes to being in front of the camera. I've watched a couple of your interviews, and you're so well-spoken. So I was very excited for this moment. Let's just say that.
Yeah, hopefully we drop some gems, and I'm going to keep it real and tell some stories maybe I haven't told, or just be at the best version of myself. I think right now I'm at the best version of myself I've been in quite some time. So I'm excited to see how this one pans out, and hopefully you guys are happy with it.
Oh, absolutely. There's no doubt in my mind. So let's just start with, how are you feeling right now in the current state of your life?
I'm in a great spot in my life. I'm sure the question is going to come up about retiring, stepping away from the game a year ago. And I felt like, I'm 34 years old. I've been playing football since I was 7, and I played till I was 33. So that's a lot of years of my life, doing one thing every single day, being validated by one thing. But I felt like, to answer the question, I felt like mentally I was at a place where my gratitude wasn't right in life, and I needed to step away from football. With that being said, I was rich, obviously, with contractually making money, rich winning Super Bowls. But when you're in that world and you win a Super Bowl, after a week or two, you get back to work because, like the Philadelphia Eagles are realizing, okay, now we're 0-0. We have to go do it again. And you're always in that state of like doing it again. And as my career was going on and I was checking off boxes of buying my first house, signing my first multi-million-dollar contract, winning 2 Super Bowls, I'm knocking these off at 22, 23, 24, 25 years old, having kids, married to my wife, like doing everything you think you want to do in life. I'm knocking all those boxes off, but it's always like, what's next? What's next? I had a really good year, but I didn't make a Pro Bowl. I got to get back to work. We won the game, but I didn't play well. I missed that play at the end. I got to get back to work. I played really well, but we lost the game, so that's all that matters. I get back to work. So I realized I wasn't having gratitude for what I was doing. I was getting older, trying to prove more people wrong and try to get back to work. Well, stepping away from the game has allowed me to realize everything I've accomplished, allow me to appreciate the time with my kids and my wife every single day, and look back and pat myself on the back more this past year than I probably did over an 11-year career. So to me, that's why I said I'm as good as I've ever been. I'm richer in life than I've ever been than even the years I was playing.
Wow. Sometimes it takes, the thought process in hindsight to really understand, the greatness of what you have, and the gratitude is what you're talking about. I was thinking about who you are, and not everyone watches the NFL. So not everyone knows who Logan Ryan is. For somebody that doesn't know, for some of our viewers, you're going to be exposed to a whole different demographic. How would you explain, if somebody asked, who is Logan Ryan? What would your answer be?
A family man. I'm just trying to do everything, trying to be just like everyone else, go out there and support my family and come home and enjoy the time. And I try to be balanced, and I'm very purposeful in what I'm trying to do. I really think about my last name a lot and what that means. I don't want to embarrass my family or put any shame on my name or how my parents raised me or how my wife loves me or my kids. My kids go to school, and I don't want them to see their dad's name in the news or whatnot for anything but positive things. So I try to be as down to earth as possible. And I know a lot of athletes and celebrities try to be different but I try to almost be like, bro, we're not different. I just worked really hard at something, had a skill that I worked really hard at, got compensated. But after that, after I come home from work, I'm trying to do what everyone else got to do, and spend that time and appreciate it. Okay.
Excellent. So the NFL or being a pro ball player doesn't define you?
No, it doesn't. But, when you're focused on it and you're trying to be the best what you want to be. But I just viewed it as a chapter in my life. Like, I went pro. Like, I started playing football when I was 7, 8 years old, and then I got to college, at 18. So from 8 to 18, I'm just playing the game, learning the game. You get to college, that's when you get introduced to the business side of things. Obviously, the NIL now, but like they're making your schedule. You're working long days. You're going to class. You're practicing. It becomes real hard work, and a lot of people aren't used to the work. They're used to just playing for fun. And then when you get out of college, I went pro at 21 years old. So I look at that 21 to 32, 33, that 10, 11, 12 years as another chapter in my life where I was a pro, and I'm doing it at the highest level, competing against the best in the world, having that attention to detail, that intensity every single day of my life to stay up as one of the best in the world, to defend my titles, to live that really regimented life. And now I'm 34 years old with a whole new chapter. Now it's a blank slate. Now I can do what I want. I have the time and money and ability to kind of do what I want to do, be like the author of my schedule every day now. So it's pretty cool.
Wow. What do you think about collegiate players making money?
I'm a fan of it, honestly, because I felt like, we really struggled in college, like financially. Like we couldn't earn any money outside of what we were getting on stipend and whatnot. And I mean, my wife would tell you, like, she was taking me grocery shopping. Like, I had no money at all in college. Really struggling. I would get my little check, pay the rent. That'd be 3/4 of it, and I gotta survive off $400 for 6 weeks or something like that. Yeah, you have some meals paid for and stuff, but you still need some change to do some other things, get gas money, to So it was really a struggle when we were in college. So I always felt like if these quarterbacks are worth $4 million, $3 million, who was getting that money before? Yeah. Right? If the players are getting this share, we know they're not getting a majority of it. Who was making the $100 million off players' backs before, off the jersey sales before? So I think if you can sell a jersey, you should get some of the profits of it. If you can pack a stadium, you should get some of the ticket sales. If you're that good at what you do and people want to watch it, you definitely deserve to cut the income. Now, can they control it? That's a whole nother story of how the NIL is kind of the wild, wild west, but I have no problem with the players getting the money.
Okay, I like that. I always thought about it, man. Like, when you're so young and you're getting all this money, you really need good people around you.
Yeah, I mean, any time in life, when you're getting money, you need some people around you to keep you humble. And I just think I don't think money really changes people. I think it exposes what they really want. And if you're someone that's somewhat selfish or wants, you know, status and cars and clothes and women, money can help you get all that. You know what I'm saying? If you're someone that wants to help your family or help your community, money can help you do that. So the money just makes it easier to attain what you want to attain. And yeah, 17, a lot of teenagers, 18, really might not make the best decision, but there's some 30-year-olds that might not make the same decision. You give them $1 million.
True.
So
True.
I don't really think it has much to do with it. It's kind of what matters to you, you know, and obviously there's more temptation with money in life. And you got to have a solid root, solid system, like you said, some solid people around you. But, you know, there's some 50-year-olds that'll make some selfish decisions with money as well.
True. Tell me this. For somebody that publicly signed a $31 million contract for 3 years, how does that change the dynamic with your friends and your family?
Well, I just think it's a situation that we only do with athletes, that we make their salary public on TV. So everyone is now in my pockets knowing what I got and knowing what I get. And a lot of my family, a lot of people don't know how taxes work or know how much I'm really getting. They don't know that majority of that money is not guaranteed to even get. So if I sign $31 million, I'm already going to lose, 12, 14 of it to taxes. So I'm really only getting, 17 million, which is great, but I'm getting that over 3 years, right? And only 8 of it's guaranteed. So if I break my leg, I really only signed an $8 million deal, not 31, because they might cut me and I don't see the rest of the money, right? We don't have fully guaranteed salaries. Only so much of it's guaranteed. Now, look, $8 million, you can't complain about that, but it's not the $31 million that everyone thinks. So I can't give all my homies $500,000. Yeah. If I only got $8 million to live on for the rest of our life. Also, players are like teachers, and our salaries are only seasonal. So we get paid over 16 weeks or 17 weeks, right? So that's only 4 months out the year. That's 7 months we don't have a paycheck. So if you don't balance that money out throughout the year, a lot of guys go broke in the offseason because they're spending it every week like it's coming in, but they don't realize you got to go balance that money out, not only for the offseason, but for the rest of your life, because it's our biggest earning opportunity in our lives. So there's a lot of that you got to learn and have some people around you and just study on yourself. But it's a very difficult situation when the whole world knows what you make.
Wow. Interesting. Okay, I did want to touch up on some other things. There's some very important questions here that I do want to ask you. But before we get into that, I kind of want to know about your ethnic background, because you said you're Trinidadian and Puerto Rican, right? Yeah. There was something about you from the moment I met you that seemed like you were like a more relaxed type of energy. You have more of a, you know what I'm saying? Like an island energy. Were you born on the island, or are you? No. Can you tell me a little bit about your ethnic background?
Yeah, so I was born in, people always say that about me, I'm down, like super chill. But I was born in Camden, New Jersey. And my dad and my whole dad's side of the family was born in Trinidad and Tobago. So my dad moved to this country when he was 7, 8 years old as an immigrant. Never saw snow, had no idea what the U.S. was about type of thing. And then my mom was born in Camden, but her family was from Puerto Rico. So both my parents were kind of very like immigrant style parents. Like I wasn't raised like super American. Like obviously I wanted to do what everyone in school was doing, but like I grew up with reggae music in my backyard all the time. We grew up having a lot of family cookouts or family parties in the backyard, big feast style meals. Both my parents don't eat meat. So I grew up eating a lot of fish and seafood, which is very different from a lot of American kids. Yeah. So I grew up loving fish, listening to reggae, kind of being a little relaxed there. So I just felt like as I'm growing up, it's not like fast food or like a lot of some of the stuff that some other kids, like I wasn't drinking sodas growing up and stuff like that, a lot more juice. So there's a lot of stuff that I realized like, oh yeah, I'm not just like black or I'm not just American. Like I got a lot of like Trinidadian cultural roots. So then when I met Marcus Mariota in Tennessee, he put me on J Boog, the artist. Yeah. And I was like, oh, where's he from? Like Jamaica? Is he from like Trinidad? He's like, no, he's Hawaiian. I'm like, they have reggae music in Hawaii? So me and him are listening to J Boog together and kind of vibing out like that. And Marcus is very chill as well, super humble, super chill. So when I started coming to Hawaii, I'm like, I feel like these are my people, because I was raised in a very similar Ohana style way of going about, think about your family first and, making people proud and understanding what I stand for and stuff like that. So I just felt like there's a lot of similarities to us when I came here, and that's why I think I love coming here so much.
Ah, yes, the cultures and the similarities, right? You feel comfortable, you kind of feel like you're at home.
Yeah, and look, this is a vacation for me. I've been coming to Hawaii for 5 years now, at least a week or so a year. But not many places, and I've really prioritized travel now in this part of my career where I have some more time to see the world. That's something I didn't get to do growing up. I was in sports all year round, baseball, basketball, football. I might have went on one airplane in my first 18 years of life, and I had a tournament every weekend or something like that I didn't want to miss. So there was no real traveling for me growing up, and I knew that I wanted my kids to see the world and get on airplanes. But when I come to Hawaii, I feel like I know the people. I feel like it's a place where I can walk anywhere outside the resort and meet great people, have great food and whatnot. And some other countries, you don't want to leave the resort. Hawaii doesn't give me that feeling. So that's why I think we come here so much, not only for obviously the beautiful beaches and the weather and all the perks of Hawaii, but really it's the people.
Wow, I love it. I love it. Okay, so we're gonna jump into a couple of these questions here. I want to make some relations between your insights and also Hawaii, because I want the people of Hawaii to really understand who Logan and Ashley are. So Logan, here in Hawaii, we talk a lot about mana, your spiritual energy or presence. After years in the NFL spotlight, how did your sense of mana shift when you stepped away from the game?
Yeah, I think I kind of addressed that in my first thing I said, of how I was feeling like I'm not doing enough, or I got to do more, or what can I do to improve consistently, instead of looking backwards at time and being proud of what I've done. And I think stepping away has allowed me to do that sense of gratitude. And I always am try to treat people the right way, try to appreciate people, but I don't know how much I was appreciating myself. So I feel like that's been the biggest thing, is self-appreciation. And that shift has allowed me to really have a smile on my face every day and appreciate the time I have, with my kids. And my wife will tell me, hopefully she says I'm a great dad, but I believe I'm a great dad. And she'll tell me, like, that hour you spend in the backyard with him, like, that's not on the scoreboard, but like, that's a win, And I wasn't always looking at those things as wins. I thought, I'm just what a dad got to do. But, I was getting judged by the scoreboard every Sunday.
True.
On how I valued myself. So I think that's been the biggest shift.
Was your father present in your adolescence?
Absolutely. My dad is probably my role model, my biggest hero. So he was a cop, martial arts instructor as well. But he also was my Little League football coach. My mom and him almost at every single game I can remember to my NFL career. My mom filming every game, my dad on the sideline. So I definitely came from a strong father figure at home. And my wife will tell you, outside of her, he's my best friend, where I call him almost every day, every other day, just to talk. And a lot of times when I play, I say, how'd I play? I want to hear his opinion on it, because there's a lot of people that write about how I played, or Twitter might think I have a view, and we would talk about it honestly, because he's been watching me play since I was 6 years old, taught me how to play. So super, super close to my dad.
Wow. Awesome. Okay, so football can be a warrior's path, but also a path of pain. What did you learn about yourself in the quiet moments after the games, after the adrenaline fades, and it's just you and your thoughts?
Well, I think one of the biggest strengths of mine was my ability to play through pain or handle pain. There was a lot of injuries I sustained, but I missed very few games. In 11 years, I probably missed, less than 12 games, and 8 of them being with a broken foot, and returned 8 weeks after breaking my foot to still play. So you take away the broken foot, in 10 years, I missed 4 games.
Wow.
And I wasn't always healthy, but I wanted to be there for my teammates. I wanted to show up. If I could be there, I feel like my 80% was better than the next person's 100, because I just knew what I give to the game. So I knew that I can deal with pain and handle that. And I always felt like when my back was against the wall, contract year, we would call it, when you're going to try to get a new contract in the last year, doubted or whatnot. I felt like that's when I played my best at times, when I was kind of that back against the wall mentality. So I just realized how much I can endure in life with pain. And when things aren't, going well, I feel like that's when I'm at my best. And that's the same with my family. I feel like even when we were here the other day and we had a tsunami, they were evacuating our hotel.
Yeah.
I texted you. There was some panic happening around the locals. People are sprinting around. I've never been involved in a tsunami in my life. And thankfully, it was nothing too major. But there was a lot of stuff happening. And if you're at a Disney hotel during a tsunami, it's some chaos in there. Women and children, families are screaming, and it is chaotic. And our room got evacuated. We didn't know where we were going to go. Some people were sleeping in the lobby, but my wife was able to get us a room on the 9th floor. I checked into the Marriott just in case, and we had the bags moving, and I felt like I was at my best when there was a lot of chaos. I felt like things got quiet. I'm like, all right, here's our plan. Let's do this. And we were able to get our family safely and securely through that night when a lot of other people were losing their mind.
Wow, I do remember I was actually making dinner for my kids when you called. I didn't hear it, but then I saw your text message, and I just wanted to give you a little bit of peace of mind. But I actually didn't know what was going to happen either. I don't think anybody did. If you saw the gridlock on the freeways, you see employees running to their cars.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It does create some kind of panic. But I mean, for everything that you've been through, I'm sure that mentally you're pretty sound in those types of chaotic situations, right?
Yeah, I think that's something that, my background, has given me. And look, I don't want to sit here and compare football to war or gladiators or whatnot, but it's the closest thing to it. You are not trained to be a normal civilian. Like you're up early, you're getting drilled, you're getting practicing daily, you're lifting extreme amount of weights, you're trying to be an alpha male, and you have a team full of them, and you're trying to go and physically, put your will against another man and another team that wants to do the same thing to you. And you're doing that in front of a stadium of fans, 80,000 are screaming, go, go, go. No back down, don't be scared. And we all have those normal emotions. So it's the closest thing to the movie Gladiator. So when you ask that guy to come off of work, take that helmet off, and go relax and be with his family, we're not trained for that. To step out of that war zone, in a sense, that battlefield. So I've always found a way to find that balance to be able to do that. But there's no doubt about it. You're trained to handle some pressure situations when you're in the Super Bowl, down 28-3. You can't panic in that moment, right? Because you got to do your job, as Bill Belichick would say. And then when you have Tom Brady, your leader, your fearless leader, you believe he's gonna go get it done, which he did time and time again.
That man is amazing. So I guess we're talking about football. Let's talk about football, man. I want to know, as a cornerback and as a safety, you played a couple of different positions. That's kind of interesting. Who was the hardest wide receiver to cover?
I would say, the guy that a guy that I exclusively covered, because there's some guys, but I didn't spend a lot of time covering them. So I'll say the hardest one that I had to be matched up with. In New England, we would match up with a guy, meaning I'm following you all game long. There's no like, I'll catch you when I catch you. It's like, no, where are you breaking at the huddle? I'm following you. So my toughest matchup in my career is Larry Fitzgerald.
Really?
And the reason is he's a Hall of Famer. He's bigger than me. He was faster than me at some point in his career. He's stronger than me. And he's got more career tackles than drops. I'll repeat that stat. He has more career tackles than drop passes. He's a wide receiver. Meaning when they throw an interception, he goes and tackles the guy that catches it. He doesn't drop the ball. So even when I have him covered, he could still catch it. And I'm a very smart player. I would study all your nuances. I would figure you out. I used to say I don't really cover receivers. I just figure out where the quarterback's going to throw the ball. I don't got to really worry about you. I got to worry about what route you're running. So I'm playing patterns. I'm studying you all week to figure out what route you run in what situation. And then I'm just playing the odds, right? So it doesn't matter if the quarterback doesn't throw you the ball, or if I know where you're going to go, I'm going to meet you there, if that makes sense. I'm trying to explain this really simply.
Awesome.
And Larry Fitzgerald did the same thing. So for instance, there's this formation they ran, and they ran the play 4 times. And when he was at this formation, he was breaking in every time. And the first one I covered it. The second one, I wanted to pick it off, so I let him look like he was open, and I knocked it down because he didn't let me pick it off. The third one, I covered it, and then in the fourth quarter, they're in the same formation, and he runs a double move off the same play. So he set me up all game long.
Wow.
And the quarterback missed the throw, and he said, I was setting you up all game. I let you have the first three. So I'm sitting in my mind thinking, oh, I'm doing something. I got Larry Fitzgerald strapped up, where he was baiting me the whole game to catch the touchdown in the last play of the game or in the fourth quarter when it mattered. And he was setting me up all game like I set receivers up. That's stuff I do to receivers. So he was smart too. So Larry Fitzgerald, absolute crazy cover because how good of a football player he was.
Wow, that's so amazing. Larry Fitzgerald, he was playing on the Cards, right?
Yeah.
And I remember he was a large man. He played till late in life.
Yeah, he probably played, 15, 16 years. I mean, like I said, Hall of Famer. Definitely slept on in his career, but he's one of the best to ever do it. One of the best catchers of the football. He doesn't drop the ball. And like I said, he's really smart, and he also could block you too. And I like guys that compete on every snap. A lot of times with receivers, I wouldn't know if it's run or pass based on how they stood. So if they're really engaged and they're clenching their fists and their foot's really dug in the ground, I knew it's a pass because they're trying to get out and run their route as quick as possible. When they come up kind of chilling, lax, their fists ain't clenched, I know it's a run because they're not running far. They're not getting the ball, and they probably don't want to block. So that I already can eliminate half the plays on how hard I got to go based on how they're standing. So with Larry, every play he played it hard. So I didn't know if it's a run or pass like I would on most guys because he blocked me. He blocked hard, and he ran his routes really hard. So he didn't take any plays off, and he rarely got subbed out the game. DBs play every snap. Receivers get subbed out when they're tired. Larry plays every snap. So that's, as a competitor, I respect, me and you going to play every snap. You know I'm following you. You're going to block me, and you're going to run your routes hard, and you're going to catch it probably. If I let it get to you, you're probably going to catch it. So because of all those nuances, that's why he was the toughest cover for me.
Okay. Well, thank you for that. I do want to mention one of the largest plays of your career. In the AFC wildcard game, your pick six, which is an interception that's ran back for a touchdown. For those of you who don't know, you intercepted Tom Brady's last pass as a New England Patriot. What did that mean to you, brother?
I mean, that was so significant in so many ways from the fact I was a Patriot. And they chose to never give me a contract extension there. So I went to the Tennessee Titans and signed a large contract like we talked about. But the Patriots never offered me one when I was, when I starred for them and won 2 Super Bowls, for them and played, I felt like, well, for them drafting me, which I'm grateful they did. But they just pretty much said, go elsewhere. We can move on without you, which is cool. That's their right to do that. So be able to go back to that building. I think Tom Brady's probably ever lost 2 or 3 playoff games at home in his 20-year career. He doesn't lose playoff games. He doesn't lose them at home. So to be able to beat my old team at home,
take that,
and then pick six, last play of the game, essentially pick off Tom Brady to secure the win. I don't think it gets any bigger than that. The ball fell on my lap that play, but all the ramifications of that, and now our coach was Mike Vrabel. And now Mike Vrabel's the coach of the Patriots now. So, and he was a former Patriot. So there was a lot of, like I said, a lot of storytelling to that. But I wanted to go back and show them, what I grew as a player. And I definitely earned every player's respect, even just dapping them up. I mean, those guys are going home, going to Cancun. And they're not used to that. They're used to Super Bowl runs. So to get knocked out in a division, I never had that happen when I was there. We were in the AFC Championship or a Super Bowl every year. I can tell they were like, all right, Logan, you got that. Like, you got us on that. And so everybody, I felt like all the players on both sides were happy with it. Even Tom had DM'd me after the game and said he was proud of me and happy that if it had to happen to anybody, at least I caught it. So he was cool about it. And that sent him to Tampa Bay, and he won a Super Bowl the next year anyway. So it all worked out.
And then you ended up in Tampa Bay.
And I ended in Tampa Bay with Tom. So that's how it all worked out, yeah.
Wow. Tell me a little bit about Tom's character, and I want to talk about Mariota after. What makes Tom Brady so great?
He's got unbelievable determination and work ethic. Almost probably Cristiano Ronaldo's the biggest comp in terms of like lifestyle and fitness and every single day, waking up early and staying late. I mean, I have so many stories that are just extreme stories of like a Michael Jordan or a Kobe type. That's what Tom Brady was, on that level of intensity and wanting to win it every single year and restarting every year. The biggest difference with Tom and a lot of these other guys is his emotional intelligence.
Okay.
He's like Cristiano Ronaldo level of preparation, but there's no selfishness about him. He understands the importance of all his teammates, and he makes all his teammates feel appreciated and respected. And a quick way I can describe that in a quick story is when I got drafted in New England Patriots, mind you, I started playing football when I was 7, 8 years old in like 1998, 1999. Tom Brady went to the NFL in like 2000, 99. So my first year ever putting on pads was he was in the NFL.
Wow.
I had a Tom Brady jersey growing up because I played quarterback. And then I'm playing with this guy that literally I've been watching since I was a kid. And I see him, I get drafted, I'm in the facility, and I see him around the hallway. And I'm like, oh, shoot, like, hold on, what am I about to say? I'm kind of nervous to meet this guy in person, and I don't know what to say. So I'm kind of walking, I don't know if my head's down, but I'm kind of just like, don't really know what I'm about to say to Tom Brady, who's about to be my teammate, all very surreal. I'm 21 years old. Yeah. And he came up to me, he's like, hey, you're Logan Ryan, right? We drafted you out of third round out of Rutgers. And he was like, man, I watch your tape. You're going to be a really good player. And if you ever need anything, I'm here early. Just my locker's over there. Just check in with me. I'll help you out. And I just was like, whoa, he took all the awkwardness, all the new guyness. And he's like, I'm Tom Brady. I'm the quarterback of the Patriots. Like, I know who you are. But he still went out of his way knowing who I was and introduced him. And that took all the awkwardness from me and made me feel accepted right away. So, man, when I used to get an interception, I used to run and get the ball to Tom. I'll pick the ball off and find Tom on the sideline. Like, I'll go score with it. And he's like, I got you. And he'll go score. So I was like, man, I'm playing for Tom. A lot of us say, like, he was that type of teammate where you wanted to win for Tom because he was such a good dude. You understood what his legacy was.
And a real leader.
Real leader. You know, I felt like he led from the middle. Like, some guys lead from the front, but they don't look behind. He's pushing his teammates to be the best. I think that's the difference of him and some of these other star athletes and quarterbacks is like they think about themselves, but you need a team, especially in football, to win a Super Bowl. So much has to go right. There's no best of sevens. Everything's a game 7 mentality. So one thing go wrong. So he knows he needs the cornerbacks to be on. He knows he needs a running back to pick up his protection. Yeah. So you can't go out there and think it's all about you in football. That there'll be no team success. So I think he does a great job of understanding that emotional intelligence like I talked about.
Wow. And you know a little bit about leadership as well, because I know you were a captain as well. What's that like, being a captain of a bunch of alpha males? And defense as well, you know what I mean? Like,
you know, I did it. I felt like I learned like a lot from Tom watching him. Obviously, I wasn't a captain in New England. I was a young player. We had great leadership in New England, like great leadership. So I knew I had to lead by example, and that's what everybody says. Like, oh, I lead by example, but like I led by like verbal too. Like I was calling it up. I was, you know, giving speeches before the game, and I was just trying to literally always lead by example, but also hold people accountable and also encourage players that were struggling. And I mean, I read a lot of Kobe Bryant related stuff. I wanted to try to be the best I could be. And look, a captain's voted on by your peers, so you don't want to change who you are. They voted on you for a reason. So I wanted to stay myself, but I also didn't want to let my guys down. So I felt like it just was fitting in my maturation as a player and as a human. Because like in high school, I never gave any speeches. I was the best player, but I never wanted to talk in front of the team. I kind of was a little nervous to do so. I just wanted to play. Like, watch me play. And now, you know, 8, 10 years later, now I'm giving a speech before the game, speech at halftime when we're down, speech after the game when we win, you know, for the New York Giants, or my face is on the side of the stadium.
What would a Logan Ryan speech sound like? Motivational?
Yeah, it would be motivational.
Inspiring.
I would say, like, listen, man, like I always used to say in Tennessee, like, it's already written. Like, meaning like you got to trust your fate. Like what you did is enough. That we're all here for a reason, right? So you're here, I'm here. You had to sacrifice. You had to go through some hard times. I did too. We're here, right? Let's just go out and be ourselves. I don't need you to press. I don't need you to try extra hard. If you fall down, I'm gonna pick you up. Like I'm just be supportive, but like let's go do what we practice all week, right? Because you got to practice something and then you got to go perform it in front of 100,000. And a lot of guys get nervous or natural to get nervous. A lot of guys can't perform in front of the 100,000. They're worried about all the other stuff. But we got to do what we did in practice. And who we are is good enough. It's already written. So I would make sure I assured guys, and I would try to pick them up. And so the speech would change from week to week based on what our goal was and what we were trying to accomplish, what we needed to do. But it was more reassuring than anything.
I love it. Tennessee Titans, tell me a little bit about your experience with Marcus Mariota.
Man, he was such a cool dude, bro. Like, everybody loves Marcus. Like, I feel like he's like my best friend. I feel like Derrick Henry feels like that's his best friend. If you ever see their like relationship after the game, like he's running Derrick. Derrick's very like kind of mono and low tone, like chill, and he's like running up, screaming when he sees Marcus. I think Marcus was the most like Brady to another level of humility, humble, almost to a fault. And I feel like it was the Hawaiian way he was raised, because it's a very rough business, the NFL. I think Marcus got some wrongdoing when he was in the NFL with some teams, playing through injuries when he shouldn't. And he would put his body on the line for the team. And sometimes you got to protect the asset of knowing, like, Marcus, bro, like, rest, you are a star quarterback. You got a back injury, you shouldn't be playing. But he's like, no, I want to play for my brothers. So I just felt like he was such a humble leader, such a great guy. And him and his wife, Kiyomi, is like the coolest. I think my wife's the coolest in the game, but I think Kiyomi was right up there too. So we really related with that. And there was a lot of times that we broke bread off the field together, our families. And he's just a great friend, true Hawaiian boy. You can see how he was raised, how much humility he had. So I got nothing but great things to say about him.
Wow. Okay. Thank you so much for sharing that. Marcus Mariota is definitely a hero in a lot of the locals' eyes. A GOAT, yes, indeed. Okay, so I do want to talk a little bit about family before we move on to Ashley. If I were to ask either of your kids what kind of father is Logan Ryan, what do you think their answer would be?
It's funny. We asked them this the other day to all describe us. We went in our family to describe everybody in one word. Okay. And we asked my son, he's 7, and he's into sports. And he's like, okay, describe dad in one word. And he was like, oh, like NFL, like, you know, he sees me as the NFL star, or like my dad's famous, or like whatever. But he's like, you know, NFL, sports, stuff like that. Very athletic, like probably what he strives to be and whatnot. I asked my daughter, describe me in one word. She just said funny. Like, oh, dad's so funny. Oh. So both my kids have very different takes on it. But I just think that's what it is. I'm very, very fun around them. And a lot of things that I did was I made my schedule in a way so my kids didn't know I had a job. So I would wake up at 5 in the morning and train with my trainer. So when my kids woke up at 7, I was home. Or I would go to the garage, and any house we lived in, I put a home gym in the garage, or if we had a gym. And I would go out at 9 p.m. at night after I put them to bed and go do another workout. So I always moved my schedule so my kids didn't see much of it until, and now obviously if I have to go to work, I have to go to work. But like everyone has to go to work. So they just viewed it as a normal job. But when I was home, and then I would watch film or I would lift when they were asleep. So they didn't see me always gone, you know? And then eventually during COVID, I was watching The Last Dance, Michael Jordan, and he had the Space Jam. When he was filming Space Jam, he said, I need the court, though, so I can play. And he was flying players in so he could play pickup while he was filming Space Jam. Wow. I got inspired by that. We bought a house in Tampa with 5 acres, and I built a football field. And during COVID, I would bring the players over to my house, and we had a weight room, and we would train on my field. That was like my Space Jam bubble. But then my son and daughter started watching it. So when my kids started to see the work right in front of them, because I couldn't go anywhere during COVID. So they got to see how hard their dad actually works. I used to do it when they were babies, always away from them, and then I started doing it right in front of them. But again, I always did it at home, though. I wasn't always going away when my kids have recitals to go train extra. I made sure I was at all those things.
Wow. It sounds like I could take a page out of that book, man. I want you to tell me what Ashley means to you. What kind of mother is she? What kind of wife is she? And maybe something that you've never told her. Man,
look at that one. That's a good question right there. I never had that one. I think it's cliche to say it's true. She's the rock of our family. Look, me and Ashley met in college at 20 years old. Like I said, I didn't have a penny to my name. I was the third string corner, maybe the eighth corner of the depth chart on the third team in practice. So she was an athlete as well. She was starting at softball, and I was on the bench, redshirted. So clearly, she's known me before all of this, and we're best friends first, and then obviously grew into what we have now. But there's a story, I'm gonna let Ashley tell it, but there's a story in 2020 when Ashley almost died in an ectopic pregnancy. And I would truly say, like, you don't know what you have till it's gone. And I thought my wife was gonna die in the hospital for a moment, and I was gonna be there with these two kids, and it all put into in a moment of the feelings of like everything she meant to me and how I don't want to go through this life without her. And it really started to shift that mentality of how long I wanted to play and what's my end goal here and when am I going to start appreciating everything I've done. So that happened in 2020. I retired in 2023, 2024, so a few seasons after. But it was like after this contract, I'm done. I'm retiring. I want to go to enjoy this money and enjoy life with my wife and kids because I'm in the middle of playing and my wife almost died and I don't know if I fully appreciate her yet. And I don't want to do it at her funeral. I want to do it while she's here. So I feel like that was a moment in time. And like I said, I'll let Ashley tell the story. But that was when I really felt like what she meant to me.
Wow. Tear. One more thing. Kenji's gonna ask you a question. I just want to touch up on that Indian wedding. So I've never been to an Indian wedding before. Yeah. Can you explain to me your experience?
So my best friend is Indian. Okay, his name is Dabine Koshari. And his little sister is named Tina. And I've known her since she was like 8, 9 years old. So his little sister was getting married. And we get him like 2 years notice for this wedding. Like, hey, can you come to this wedding? They wanted to make sure I was there. And they're like, hey, are you available to come to this wedding in like June? And I'm like, yeah, I mean, a couple weeks, but yeah, I'll definitely be there. They're like, no, like June, like next year. I'm like, oh yeah, like I got nothing in a year and a half from now. So we went to a 4-day affair in pretty much Manhattan, Skyline, New York. It's the most insane thing I've ever seen. This is one of her 3 weddings she's having. 400, 350 family members there, 3 nights, different events. I had 3 different full Indian outfits on, and we had a blast, man. They had McLarens. I was looking for an elephant. There was no elephant, but they had crazy cars, crazy music, crazy dances, and it was such a spiritual, big deal. And these Indians can drink, bro. They're drinking at 2 in the morning, open bars, getting up at 6 to get makeup on for the 9 a.m. event the next day. And it was so important to their family. I got to see so much family that flew in from India, but the whole community was there. It was almost like the whole community, their whole Indian community in New Jersey showed up for them. And I got to see people from my high school. I got to see my best friend. His role as her brother, he had to give speeches. He had to be there to literally drive her to the wedding. And then he had to carry her on a chair during a reception. Him and a couple others had to hold her up on a chair and present her to the groom. And I just thought the chair was going to tip. So I was like, please don't drop her. So it was so much pressure what he had to do. But it showed his responsibility as an older brother in an Indian family. And I was like, man, our wedding was like 10 minutes long. We got in, got out, got to the bar. But their thing was a 3-day ceremony. And it was such a special thing in their culture. And I've never been a part of it, but I've never seen a wedding touch this Indian wedding.
Well, we definitely gonna put some footage off of your Instagram for that.
Yeah, for sure.
I did want to ask you one thing, another thing, man. It's kind of hard because I have so much, but let me see your Shaka, man. You got a Shaka?
See, this one, I know you got to do it loose, right? But this pinky's messed up. You see that pinky's like crooked. So it makes my Shaka look a little, how's that?
It's not bad. Yeah. I just wanted to, because I'm sure Zach and Chad must have told you as well.
Looser the better, right?
Looser the better. And like the locals, we do it like this. Yeah. Sometimes we do it like this, but there's a lot of variations. Yeah,
I just was showing you the crooked pinky I got. You look at that sideways.
Is that from Fitzgerald?
That wasn't from Fitzgerald. I don't know, but that right there, that's why my Shaka, I got to do it with this hand.
Yeah, you loosen it up a little bit. Loosen. Kenji, you got anything?
Yes. So, Logan, this was a little bit selfish. Me and my brother both grew up playing team sports here in Hawaii.
Yeah.
You know, team sports is huge here. Group, family, all of that, right? And so sports, parenthood, travel. It's kind of obvious how sports impact legacy. It's kind of obvious how parenthood, I mean, that's inherent to legacy.
Yeah.
But I want to hear your version, and specifically to these kids playing sports here in Hawaii. I want to hear how your take is on how travel impacts legacy.
Yeah, I think I spoke on it earlier about the importance of travel, and I didn't travel at all growing up because I was only in sports, and I had a schedule every single weekend of my life. I was in a tournament. And I feel like my kids, you truly cannot appreciate people and the problems in this world if you don't see it. And if you really can't say you love food if you're not trying people's food. You can't say, oh, I love food, but I only want to eat chicken wings and I'm not going to try no one else's food, right? So I feel like that travel legacy, man, that's if I have this money that I've earned, I'm going to spend it on travel. I think that pays me back 10 times. Seeing different cultures, seeing different peoples, different walks of life gives me an appreciation more than they know. And I feel like that's the number one thing you should spend your money on. If you can spend on anything over jewelry, cars, houses, all that stuff, I spend it the most on travel out of any expense because I feel like it's paying my kids back so much, and they've seen a lot, and I think it's making them better human beings. And that is my legacy. My kids are my legacy. So I might be a good football player. I might have been some places and have a cool Instagram, but how my kids act when I'm not around or how they're going to be when they're adults is my legacy. It's what you don't need money to raise good kids.
How do you address the question, or some people will say, like, I'm on an island in the middle of the ocean, I can't go anywhere. How would you address that?
Man, that's tough. I mean, you do need the resources to be able to go see places, right? So obviously save up to the best you can do, but man, get on YouTube. I learn a lot on YouTube. You know, there's a lot. There's nothing you can't learn or do nowadays with social media because you can now market yourself. You can now make money for yourself. You can now create. And I would learn different places before I travel there. I will study it on YouTube. And then if we have a trip planned and we budgeted to go on this trip, and we go to Greece or we go to Barcelona, we know what spots we want to go to. We have the reservation set up. I want to try this famous paella from this restaurant. I want to see what they have the best. Then I'll talk to the locals and have a day where I'm doing what's actually what they say is the best. But I would get on YouTube, man. Nothing can stop you from promoting yourself or from learning from others.
Thanks. Appreciate it.
Wow. Logan, can you tell people where they can find you?
Yeah, man. You can check me out. My Instagram's Logan Ryan. My Twitter's The Real Logan Ryan. And that's only because someone was a fake Logan Ryan account before I had Twitter. So that's a real Logan Ryan. Everything else is just Logan Ryan. LinkedIn, Instagram, all that stuff. We're getting some YouTube out. My hardest part has been trying to capture all this content and get it out while really living it. And that's a real duplex situation where how do you follow yourself with a camera, right, to show people what you're doing, but at the same time, I'm also trying to just be there and experience people for people. So that's what I'm trying to get better at, is getting more of my content out of what I really live like. But hopefully you'll see a lot of my family, a lot of my kids, my wife on my page.
Absolutely. And then you're also doing broadcasting for CBS as well. You'll be calling games in the next NFL and Collegiate season, right?
Yeah. So I just renegotiated with CBS, signed a deal where I'll be calling NFL games this year, which is major. I think I'm the youngest, definitely in CBS, to call NFL games on the roster. So that was a huge accomplishment of mine, new career path. And again, trying to be the best I can at it. But I'm also calling college. And I don't know when this is going to drop, but my first game this season is going to be Stanford at Hawaii. Calling. So I'll be back in a few weeks calling that game. And when you call games, you're telling stories for people and you're trying to let the players shine. So I'll be learning and studying a lot of the culture, highlighting the Hawaii team and see how they do. I'm not allowed to pick a favorite. I'm not allowed to have a lot of bias on air, but it's going to be hard not to do that with how much, the Hawaii culture and that team means to me more than Stanford right now. So I got to show Stanford some love, but I'm excited to come back to Hawaii and call the game.
Well, I'm excited to watch your journey in broadcasting. You're so well-spoken and you're so well-respected by not just myself, but by a lot of the Hawaii community. So thank you so much for being a part of this. It's time for Ashley to do her thing and tell her side of things, right?
Fact check me. Make sure I wasn't just capping the whole time.
Ashley, how you doing?
I'm great, Ty. Thanks for having me.
You know, I've known you and Logan for about 5 years now, and you were always the sweet wife that's always smiling. You know, I follow you on Instagram, and your family. Actually, your daughter, your kids look like they could be related to my kids.
We hear that often.
Yeah.
When we decided to take this trip, our daughter was in camp. She's like, "Oh, I'm going to Hawaii next week." Like, "Oh, are you going to visit your family?"
Yeah.
She's like, "What? No, I'm not Hawaiian." But she looks like it.
Yeah, absolutely. They could fit right in. You know, we've been doing this podcast for a little over a year, and a lot of times, you know, Logan Ryan, he has the big name, NFL pro, right? But to me, what's really interesting is the insights of the partner. So that's why I was really excited when you agreed to be on. I kind of want to know what it's like in your position being married to a pro ball player.
Yeah, I mean, I do my best to not make that a thing. I do my best to just be Logan's wife, and I don't particularly enjoy being grouped in a category, the WAGs, the NFL wives, things like that. And I think I fought against that at times in this life. But there are things we all share and have in common. And a lot of that is the sacrifice and the time and the support you have to give a person who plays a professional sport. I think we all relate on that, but the biggest thing to me is just finding ways to support Logan and while still keeping my own identity, having my own identity, not just being Logan Ryan's wife, but still being a really great wife to Logan Ryan, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you were there with him from the beginning. Like he said, you know, when he was living off of $400 a month, you were buying him groceries and everything. So that's a testament to you and your love and the perseverance that you had to keep the relationship strong enough where he made it through his NFL career. Now he's starting a new chapter, and you're probably going to see more of him now.
Yeah,
right?
you'd think that, but I've learned that broadcasting takes quite a bit of time as well. But it's seasonal, right? So we go through, you know, half the year where during football season or during now broadcasting for football season, where he is a little more unavailable. There's more that falls on me. But then we have a season like this where we get to travel and see the world and spend 6 months where Dad's home all the time.
Yeah. Have you seen a difference in the kids' energy since he retired?
I have. I think the kids love having their dad home. And, you know, there was a lot of missed weekends, missed holidays. And I think that's the hardest things for our kids is 3 Christmases in a row you're playing in Arizona, missing Christmas. Those things are really hard. And I do my best to, I don't want to say pick up the slack, but kind of fill in that gaps and just make those moments really, really special. But for him to be home for those times now has really changed for our kids. And being, you know, having even the off season to travel and do all these things is great. But seeing him more when he would be working 12 hours a day is nice for our kids. He's involved in their soccer, in their gymnastics. He's got a pretty good cartwheel. Yeah. So it's nice for them to see.
I would love to see that. We're gonna go film that.
I'll send the footage. I'll send the footage. She grades the cartwheel. It's better than my cartwheel. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not a flipping, tumbling type of athlete. So she grades the cartwheels in the backyard, and he's always willing to learn. And I think the kids just enjoy having that.
Wow, what's the single most important thing about being a supportive wife to a professional athlete that really has a very demanding schedule?
Yeah, I think Logan and I will both. I think he'll agree with what I say here is understanding. It's just understanding that schedule, understanding there are extra things that do take time, understanding that he may want to be here but can't. And I think early on we struggled with that a little bit. But once you realize what their career takes, especially as he's getting older and putting more wear and tear on his body, there's a lot more that's required for the sport and to be as successful as he wants to be in it. And, you know, I think once I learned that, once I was able to accept those things, it was much easier just to support what he needed to do what he does.
Okay. I do want to touch on the ectopic pregnancy
Sure.
because it's such a crazy life event for you and Logan and your family. But it has been made public that you've had an ectopic pregnancy. This is a pregnancy, for those of you who don't know, where the fetus develops outside of the uterus. With the assistance of a giant staff member, you got directive that probably saved your life. What advice would you give to women dealing with a similar situation?
Yeah, the biggest advice I can give you, and there's two things. First of all is, the advice that trainer gave me, I was feeling stomach pain. I was at home in my house in Florida, and I was feeling some abdominal pain. Mm-hmm. I knew it wasn't normal, but I was on WebMD self-diagnosing. Like, I'll be fine till morning. And the trainer said, this is 2 a.m., and Justin Mayer, the trainer, said, no, I think you should go get checked out. And women have different parts, different things. A lot more can be happening in there than we know. And he just said, I would feel a lot better if you go to the hospital, or at least in urgent care right now. So my first piece of advice is, if it doesn't feel right, it's probably not right. And the worst that can happen is you can go get checked out and you can be totally fine. But had I not gone to the hospital that night, things could have been a lot worse. I mean, I was rushed to what they called a potentially life-saving surgery hours after entering urgent care. So had that happened while I was trying to sleep in my own bed through the night, the results could have been very different.
Wow. How did Logan support you through that time?
Yeah, I mean, if it wasn't for Logan, I wasn't going to the hospital. I pride myself on being tough. Like, oh, I'm fine. Maybe it's a kidney stone. Like, I'll go in the morning, or if it still hurts, or I'm okay. And him just being with Justin and answering his phone at 2 o'clock in the morning. Yeah. And after just playing a game and physically beating up his own body, that was the priority on his list. Like, oh, you're not feeling well. Something's not right. Let me just ask Justin. He says you should go. Of course, he pushed me to go. So Logan was the reason I went in first place. Just him asking Justin and him being there to talk to me through the process. By the time we got answers, it might have been 4 o'clock in the morning. And he had just played a football game, traveled. That's a lot. That's a lot of work. And it wasn't even a thought for him to be there and willing to talk, willing to coach me through it, help me through it. So, I can't thank Logan enough for those things.
Awesome. So let's talk Ashley's identity. When you said you don't really, you're not really in the shadow of Logan, you don't want to forge your own path. I know that you're an animal lover. Yep. You're actually a certified dog trainer, which is pretty interesting because we have pets and we've had dogs in our life as well. Tell me a little bit about your identity.
Yeah, I think, when Logan was drafted, we were in this really interesting situation where I was also an athlete in college. I was on a full scholarship to Rutgers for softball, and that just kind of goes away, right? There's no real pro softball. There's no avenue for me after this. And then I'm moving in with my boyfriend at the time, who's living his dreams as a pro athlete. So I'm happy for him. Of course, it was an amazing experience, but at the same time, what I had centered my identity around was no longer. I didn't have that sport. I didn't have to wake up at 5 a.m. and lift. And that was really hard for me. So I call it like I was in this floundering retired athlete stage, which everybody gets to eventually, but I was there at 22.
Okay.
And so we move up. He's playing for the Patriots, and I had no idea what I wanted to do. No idea. And I dabbled in some things, personal training, this and that. I was trying to stay around the game, so I was coaching, hitting lessons, things like that. And eventually I felt a pull towards dogs, specifically towards animals, and I applied for a job at a local animal shelter. I didn't tell them, oh, I'm superstar Logan Ryan's wife. I just applied for the job, got the job. I was cleaning litter boxes, cleaning kennels, walking dogs, doing the dirty work. And a couple weeks went by before anybody really realized, and I'm like, hey, can I have Sunday off to go to my boyfriend's game? Oh, yeah, sure. Where does he play? Like, oh, he's a New England Patriot. And they're like, wait, what? You've been here for weeks and we didn't know that? But I tried to just kind of make my own way. But once I got into the shelter, that's when I realized, like, okay, this is something I really love. This is something I want to be around. I love helping animals. I love training animals. I love finding homes for these animals. And that's kind of where I ended up.
Okay. I was thinking of something. When you told your parents that you had a boyfriend, did you tell them that he was black?
Initially, I didn't tell my parents anything. I think this was the first time, like I was in college, we were figuring things out. And initially, no, I didn't tell them anything. But once this was serious, the first person that has to approve is baby sis. So my sister was the first person I told. And yeah, I did feel like I had to mention it. I had one boyfriend in my life before Logan, and he was white. Okay. Right. And I don't really know if it was going to be a thing, but I told my sister. She met Logan. Like, oh yeah, he's great. I like him. I love that guy.
Nice.
I'm like, okay, cool. Then I told my parents, and this whole thing that I may have worked into being a big deal in my head was not at all. And I remember my dad's specific quote was, "The heart wants what it wants," and they were cool. My heart wanted Logan.
Well, it's a thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so that's
course.
why I asked. And even for my mother, who's Japanese, when she brought my African American father home to the family, they were like, initially, right? But then we had this great relationship now. Everybody accepted us, especially when you have kids and then the grandparents meet the kid. It's just like all that goes out the window.
Yeah, and I think it's more like my little nucleus of a family was one thing, and that's who matters most to me. Once it gets to the extended family and people from the hills of Virginia and the people that live in these really small towns, almost like Amish country in Delaware, Maryland, Pennsylvania, yeah, it got a little like, Mom, you can handle that explanation. You can, but I think everybody in my family loves Logan, accepts Logan, loves us together, and that all worked out really well.
That's awesome. So the other night I asked you what your ethnicity was, and you're like, I'm white, right? What kind of white? Can you break that down?
Yeah, I think that was my answer. I'm all kinds of white. Not a huge, overwhelming presence of one thing, but I'm Polish, German, Irish, English, and then the rest is just a whole mix of other white.
Okay. Are you in touch with any of those cultures?
I didn't really grow up with a huge influence from any of those cultures, and I think Polish is the most prominent thing on my mom's side of the family. I remember making pierogies with my grandparents in their kitchen, but it wasn't, we don't have the same, I didn't grow up with the same cultural values and traditions as someone like you or someone like Logan. And that's why I think I really take in these experiences differently. I love that stuff. I kind of wish I had more of that growing up. So I encourage my kids to really embrace the Trinidadian roots, the Caribbean, the Puerto Rican, just these things that, they get to grow up having that kind of identity in their life, I think is really cool. So, once I met Logan and I was in the backyard with the reggae, I'm like, oh, wow, this is great. I love that your family is like this. I love that our kids are going to have this influence. Okay.
Thank you for sharing. Let's see. Tell me real quick about your dogs. What kind of dogs do you have?
Right now we have 3 dogs. We have a pug beagle mix named Nala. We have a pit bull, Leo. He's my other soulmate. And then we have a beagle named Minnie.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I know that Logan, instead of flying them, he drove them from your previous home all the way to Florida.
Oh, yeah. We've driven the dogs across the country many times. Logan's done it. I've done it. My dad, my sister. We've made the dog road tripping into just a part of our adventures in our moves. We've moved a lot of places and vacationed a lot of places. And if we're there an extended time, the dogs are coming. They're part of the family. So we got to figure it out. Right. They're not going on the bottom of that plane either. So.
Yeah, no, I know that's torture for a lot of dogs.
Yeah.
I want to talk to you real quick about your relationship with Logan, what kind of husband he is. How did he propose?
So we had our daughter, Avery, when we were 24 years old. And I was setting up this huge first birthday cake smash photo shoot for her. And as we set the cake down and have the photographer in front of us, Logan is behind me on one knee and proposed that way. Oh. So her cake smash first birthday photo shoot combined with our engagement shoot. It was actually pretty clever.
Okay. Right on. So he is sweet as well. I'm going to let Kenji ask you a question, but I do want you to address Logan, your husband, the father of your beautiful children, and I want you to express your love to him.
Yeah, I can do that. We've been together since we were 20 years old. And I feel like we have grown up together. We've had kids, we've had careers, we've had moves. And the one constant has been us and our love for each other. So I'm grateful for that. I appreciate you. I love you. I love how hard you work for our family. And I'm excited for the rest of our adventures together.
Yeah, that's beautiful, Ashley. Kenji, you got any questions for?
Man, that's a hard act to follow, bro. But
hey, I did the hard work. I answered the question.
This is about protection management, and what I mean by that is there's things in your life that you didn't used to protect that now you want to protect. There's things that you've had to let go of, right? That you decided, this isn't worth my energy or time or anything like that. So as someone, whether it's animals, family, career, decisions, time, whatever it is, what's your way of deciding what to protect and what not to protect?
That's a great question, actually. You know, there are a lot of different things that come with being in the public eye. And some of those conversations we see others have is, do we show our kids to the world? Do we show our kids on social media? And I think we do a really good job of showing enough of our family that people feel like they know us, but keeping the really important things to ourselves. So, you know, we have that presence where I want people to know our family. I want people to know Avery and Otto because they're really cool kids. They're great kids. And, you know, they're the most important thing in the world to us. But at the same time, I want to make sure that this is okay with them. This is what they want, that they don't become thrust into the limelight at a time that they're not ready for. So I think that's always the biggest decision is what do we do about the kids? And I think we've found a good balance so far, but it's also an ever-changing thing based on where we're at in life. What do our kids want to, you know, we see our daughter sometimes will take a photo and she's like, don't post that. You know, so like, you know, she's 10 years old now, she has her own thing and there are things she wants shared and things she doesn't, so we ask. So
10 and 7, right?
10 and 7, yeah.
I mean, that's prime impressionable time.
Yeah.
So is there any kind of like, not horror stories, but like instances where you're like, this is never happening again?
You know, there are some things, I think we've done a pretty good job of staying away from those things, but I remember early on in New England, Logan, this is one moment that sticks out to me. He was on a radio show at a local brewery or pizza place, something like that, and I had Avery, baby Avery, in my arms, and we're kind of listening to him in this little, what I thought was a private booth, and there was two people standing over, like, snapping pictures of her, and I didn't like that, and I just covered, like, that's not what we're here for. Like, you can ask Logan for a photo when he's done, but those are moments I could immediately cover, ask to be moved to a different space, and, you know, that's something that stands out to me, just, again, ask. Like, I'm not Beyonce, like, you know, I'm not hiding her from the world, but she is a couple months old, and yeah, there are some weird scenarios like that come up, but I think you just take them in stride, see what happens, and make the best judgment call in the moment.
Thank you. Absolutely. Well, you know, I know time is precious, and I just want to say once again that I am so grateful for Logan and Ashley, for the two of you to share your mo'olelo, your stories, a little bit of yourself with the people of Hawaii. Like I said, we respect the heck out of the both of you, and we appreciate you for making time for Kenji and I today. Is there anything else you'd like to tell the people of Hawaii or where they can find you?
Yeah, I mean, I'm on Instagram, Cool Mom Breezy. If you don't like seeing cute kids and dogs and a 7-year-old playing soccer, I'm probably not the one to follow, but it's just wholesome family content. But I want to express my gratitude to you for even inviting us, for bringing us on. I know how much this podcast, this project means to you and your brother, and it's a really cool thing you're doing, and I'm proud to be part of it. So thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for watching this interview. If anything in this video made you feel something, please share this video with someone you think would feel the same way. This channel is a product of two brothers born and raised in Hawaii, using our skills, our story, and our growing network to unleash our creativity. For us, being creative isn't optional. It's a duty. We've got some incredible interviews and creative projects coming up, so be sure to subscribe so you don't miss what's coming next. Thank you so much for your support. It means the world to us. Hope to see you in the next one.